All right, so one detail I've been working on a lot for my classes this particular day has been using your feet in a way that makes you play decent tennis. Now what I mean by that is, tennis, you're doing two things. You're swinging a racket, you're moving around. Just like hockey is you're ice skating and swinging a stick. Now if you know how to move the stick really well, yeah, that's half of it. If you can't ice skate, you're gonna have a hard time. Just like in tennis, if you have a hard time moving around, it's gonna be hard to learn the rest of it, because outside of being spoon-fed a ball, the ball's gonna be a different spot every time. Okay, so how do you move using your feet? One thing I've kind of been thinking about has been the angle at which your leg is in the ground. So if you think of your leg pushing off, you push off with your legs. You push off in directions with your legs. If you're standing tall, you can only push yourself up. Once you have a wider stance, think pizza slice, now you're pushing off can move you side to side. So if you're in a ready position and you have a wide stance, you push off with one foot, you move to one side. You're in a ready stance, you push off with the other foot, you're moving. Now, if I lean forward and push off, I move forward. If I lean back and push off, I lean back. So a slightly staggered stance kind of lets you, give you some mobility in each direction, but mainly being able to push off in direction. That's really what it comes down to, being able to push off and get that first step to get you going. Now, a lot of beginners, for example, will kind of stand nice and tall when they're waiting for the ball. Now from here, there is no push off. You can start stepping, but you can't make that first step quick. And that's kind of what happens a lot, is people will get blindsided by a ball that comes to them, and they don't really have the ability to get out of the way or to run up in time. But as soon as you widen your stance, now, if I bend my knees a bit, I can make myself feel springy. If I take the weight off my heel, now I can really push off. So that's really what I've been trying to get people to do, is start in your pizza stance, bend your knees, remember that they're springy. Keep reminding yourself of that springy sensation. So if you have a spring, you just keep on tapping it, compressing it and letting it uncompress. You're reminding yourself that there's something there that they can use. So for here, while you're in your stance, if you're in a pizza slice, bend, you're able to push up at any given notice. Now at the ball machine, one of the ways I've been trying to get people to do it is by getting them to stand in the way, and then when it comes out, push themselves out. Come back to the middle. And then push themselves off. Same thing here. Wide stance, push off. Same thing here. Wide stance, push off. I almost ended my career here. Beautiful. So, thumbs down. You're in your stance, you hear the ball, you push off. So it's all about pushing off. If you can make that first step, nice and solid, that first push, it gets you to run fairly quickly. And as long as you are able to remind yourself that you have springs, you're able to be very, flexible in your movement. I can push myself off back. If I am going up, back myself away. Or if I'm staying far back, from over here, push myself up to go forward. And really again, the longer you can keep yourself feeling springy, the more you're able to maintain a rally. Because it's going to be a lot of repetition. You have to be able to stack your movements, stack your shots like Legos. So if I'm over here, push off, hit my shot. Back here, push off, hit my shot. So that's one aspect of movement. Just that pizza slice comes in handy. The next aspect is the kinetic chain. Where does power come from? It comes from the ground up. Your feet on the ground, you push off with your legs, that force can transfer up into your racket. And you're still, you're turning around, you're swinging, all that jazz, but if you have a good foothold, if you have a good solid connection to the ground, you'll feel the difference. You know, they don't play tennis in space. That's why like surfaces like grass, clay, you know, things that make movement a little tricky or maybe get a little slippery. Some people will stumble because it's hard to get a nice solid foothold in pushing off. So, pizza slice. If you notice, it lets me push off in different directions. It also lets me transfer my body weight. If I happen to be pushing myself off in the same direction I'm swinging, easy power. You know, you're trying to rely on big muscles for movement, not like the small ones, like the arm and the wrist and, you know, even the shoulder, you know. This is for transferring power, not for really like generating himself. That's where the turn comes in. Now, let's try this. If I push off with one foot, I notice that I can move my hip forward. The hip carries the torso, and boom, I can get a nice fast turn. One, with my upper body, just pulling my arm in to open myself up, and the lower body, you know, pushes the hip, pushes the torso, pushes the shoulder, pushes the arm, elbow, to the wrist, to the racket. So it comes down like this. If I can pizza slice it, I'm going to push off my back foot into my turn, forehand or backhand. Back foot, push off, turn. And that's why you see when most people are playing, you see that, you know, your slow motion or whatever, their back foot lifts off the ground a bit. It won't do that unless they're pushing off with it. Well, you're supposed to push off with it. Back foot, push off with it, makes the rest of your body go forward. And if you notice people going really crazy with shots, is that they'll take a literal step forward to the shot. Push off back foot, and they step in. You know, backhand, same thing. That back foot, step in. So, as far as increasing intensity of play, level of play, hitting harder or whatever, or just be able to get to more balls, you know, you have springs, use them as springs. If you can keep yourself nice and low, as long as you feel comfortable, and you push off, I'm staying low. I load, push off, I reload. And then I just do it over and over again. You know? You stand up when the point's over. Shake the legs off, and when it's time to play, back into it again. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Any questions, comments, concerns, grievances, suggestions, feedback, all that jazz? You know where to find me.